When you create a workbook with a large number of worksheets, it's very useful to create a worksheet with a list of all sheet names. You may call it a table of contents or an index, and then create a forward and backward navigation from the index to different worksheets and back. I'm Nabil Murad. There are 3 different ways of doing this, either by using functions, by using a VBA code, or by using Power Query. You can download the exercise file and follow along by clicking on the link below the video. Make sure you watch the 3 tutorials and let me know in a comment which method you find easier for you. In this tutorial, I'm using a VBA code. You will find below this video links to the 2 other methods. I'll be creating the code in a moment in Excel, but let's understand the concept first. In the Visual Basic Editor, I start by inserting a new worksheet, and I name it, say, Index. Then I declare an object variable, a container, to store a reference to any worksheet. In the new worksheet, I insert a label in cell A1, Sheet Names, and I format it. Using the offset property, I move 1 cell down in preparation for looping over instructions. I then use for each next method to loop over the different worksheets. Get the worksheet name, then move to the cell below. To exclude my index sheet, I use a conditional if statement. I then adjust the width of column A to autofit the contents. To avoid failure of the code in case I run it a second time, I create an error handler to alert the user that the list of sheet names already exists. Should you wish to update it, delete the index first, then rerun the code. Now let's create this code in Excel. This is my Excel start file. You can download that file from the link below the video. It includes lots of worksheets, and I would like to create a code in VBA that extracts all the sheet names in this workbook and lists them in a new worksheet that I'll be naming Index. In order to do this, I need to switch to the Visual Basic Editor. I can switch to the Visual Basic Editor either by going to the Developer tab of the ribbon and click on Visual Basic to the left side of the Developer tab. Alternatively, I can use the shortcut Alt F11. When I open the Visual Basic Editor, I need a module to start writing my code. I could insert a module by clicking on the Insert menu and select Module, or I could use the shortcut Alt-IM. In the new module, I want to create my code, and any code starts with the keyword sub, so I'll type sub extract names. When I hit enter, many things happen. The word sub will turn blue, an end sub will be added, and then opening and the closing brackets are added automatically. Between the sub and end sub, I start creating my code. And the first thing I want to do is to insert a new worksheet. And because Visual Basic is an object-oriented language, I mention worksheets first, which is an object, and then I type .add, that's the action, that's the method. And I can also type a space and specify where you want the new worksheet to be inserted. So I'll be typing a space and specify before sheets number 1. Worksheets.add space before, and then a colon equal worksheets number 1. Number 1, that's an index number counting from the left side. And then when I insert a new worksheet, it becomes the active sheet. Then I want to change its name, so I'll type ActiveSheet.name equals, and in double quotation, I'm typing index. The next step, I would like to declare a variable that will be storing the name of every one of the worksheets when I loop over the different worksheets. So I hit enter, and then I'll be typing dim, which stands for dimension, and I'm going to give a name to my variable, my index, and I specify the object type as worksheet. I declared my variable. Now remember, in the previous step I inserted a new worksheet. In cell A1 I would like to go and add a label. I'll be adding a label in range A1, which is cell A1, and then I'll be formatting that label by changing the font size to 14, by making it bold, and by changing the color. Instead of using range A1 repeatedly, I'm going to use a with statement. So with range A1, what do you want to do? Dot value. I want to change its value to be equal sheet names. That will be the label in cell A1. Then I want to change the font, and for the font I want to change the size. Dot font dot size. I want to make it 14, and I want to bold it. So dot font dot bold equals true. And I want to change the color as well. Dot font dot color. Look at the spelling of color. If you type it with a U, it will be returning a runtime error. It's equal to VB blue. And then I'm closing the with statement by typing end with. My next step, because I'm in range A1, cell A1, I want to move one cell down in preparation of extracting the list of sheet names. So I'll be offsetting from cell A1. I'm in cell A1, I can call it the active cell. And then I say I want to offset one row down, 0 column right and left, so I type 1, 0 dot select. I'm in the right position now to start looping over the different worksheets, and I'll be using for that a for each next method. So I type for each, and I use the variable name my index in the entire collection of worksheets, and then I hit enter a few times, and then I write the closing next my index. Between the for each and next, I'll be writing the looping instructions. What are the looping instructions? That's very simple. I want to say, remember that I'm in cell A2 right now, active cell.value equals my index.name. So my index is the variable. It will be extracting the name of the worksheet, and it will communicate the name of the worksheet to the first cell, which is cell A2. After doing this, I want to move in preparation for the next worksheet name, so I'll be offsetting one row down. So I'll type active cell.offset 1, 0 dot select. So my code will keep looping over these instructions for each my index, which means for each sheet in the entire collection of worksheets. But here I have a little issue. I don't want to include the first worksheet, which is my index, the one I created at the very beginning of this code. So I would like to include these two lines in a conditional statement. So above the first line, active cell.value equal my index.name, I'll be writing my conditional statement if my index.name does not equal index, then in this case, go ahead and loop over these instructions. And then because it's an if statement, I should close it with an end if. When I extract the sheet names, some of the sheet names are too long for the column width, so I click after the next line and I adjust the column width to the autofit by using columns, and in double quote, in brackets, I'll be writing columns A.autofit. And that will be my code. I'm almost done. I want to test my code at this point before I continue adding few more lines. So I'm going to restore down my Visual Basic editor. I can now see the code and I can see the Excel file. Let me run this code line by line. So I'll hit F8 and another F8. This one should include a worksheet before the first one. So when I hit F8, here is sheet 1. If I hit F8 another time, it will name this worksheet index, and that's wonderful. Now I'll be doing few things in range A1. I'll add a label, sheet names. I'll increase the font size. I'll bold it, and then I'll change it to blue. Now I'm ending the with, and in preparation to looping over instruction, I want to move one cell down. And here you go. Now we are ready for looping. Let me expand my Visual Basic editor and let's see how the loop works. So when I hit F8, now the condition is met because my conditional statement says if my index.name doesn't equal index, but actually it's equal to index. And look at that. When I hover over my index.name, it's empty. But if I hit F8, Now it will have contents read in the screen tip. It says index. That's why it skips the looping and goes to the end if. If I hit another F8, it will loop over the instructions one more time. It will go to the next worksheet. Now my index is carrying a value introduction. When I hover, I can read it in the screen tip. And now if I run the entire code by clicking on the run button here at the top, I'll be extracting the list of all the sheet names. And that's wonderful. Let me go back to my Visual Basic Editor and run the code one more time. When I run the code one more time, a new sheet will be inserted. But when I go to the next line, when the Visual Basic Editor tries to name the new worksheet index, it will return a runtime error because I already have an index. Let's test. When I run it this time, the code should fail because I already have an index worksheet. And here you go. When I hit debug, it stops at this line. The code fails at this line, active sheet .name equals index. So I have no option. I have to reset my code, and I need to fix this issue by creating an error handler. Before I do, I'm going to delete this worksheet which has been inserted unnecessarily, and I delete the index sheet as well because I'll be fixing my code. It's quiz time. Using shortcuts saves a lot of time when using Excel or VBA. Here is a list of shortcuts, but one of them is not a VBA shortcut. It's a popular Excel shortcut. So what is this non-VBA shortcut, and what does it do in Excel? If you know the answer, write it down in a comment. Now let's resume our tutorial. Let's go to the Visual Basic Editor, Alt F11, and here at the top, just below the sub, I want to say, in case of an error, go to the error handler, which will include instructions on what to do in case of error. So I'll type, on error, go to exit handler. And then just above the end sub, I need to write my error handler. I named it exit handler. And this error handler will notify the user that the list of sheets already exists, and at the same time, it will delete the newly inserted worksheet, and it will exit the sub. So I say exit handler message box, and the wording of the message box could be anything like you already have a list of sheets. And because we inserted a worksheet, we don't need it anymore, active sheet.delete, and then I want to exit the sub. Every time I do this, and because I'm deleting a worksheet, a message box will pop up asking me to reconfirm the deletion. I don't want to see this message box, so I need to add a line on top of this, application.displayalerts equal false, and then after turning off the alerts, I want to bring them back, so I'll add another line saying application.displayalerts equal true. Now I can improve the appearance of my code a little bit. I have a little issue that I'll be fixing. I want to indent my code. So for each next for the looping, I'm going to indent it. And then for the if and end if, I'm going to indent it. And let's indent these two lines as well. Now the code looks better. It's easy to read. Here is my exit handler. This is a syntax error because I mistyped exit handler. Now I fixed the error. And one final thing, if there is an error, it will go to the error handler. If there is an error due to inserting a worksheet and naming it index, then it will go to the error handler. So I want to turn off after this line the error handler by saying on error go to 0. So the code will be inserting the new worksheet. It will name it index. I'll be declaring a variable to store a reference to any worksheet. And then I'm adding a label in cell A1 and I format it. I move one cell down in preparation for looping. I loop over the different worksheets and extract the name and deliver it to column A in the index worksheet. I set the column width to autofit for column A, and that's wonderful. But you know, after this line, I don't want the code to enter the error handler because it's the normal sequence of instructions. So before the error handler, I need to add exit sub. And now I finished creating my code. Let's go and test it. So I want to go to Excel. I click on the Excel icon on the left side of the toolbar. And now I'm back to Excel. Now let's test my code. How do I run my code? I can click on macros and then I say extract names. If I run this code, here you go, it extracted a list of the worksheet names. To make it easy for me to run the code over and over again, then I'm going to add it to the quick access toolbar. I click on the down arrow to the right side of the quick access toolbar, select more commands, and then here I need to switch from popular commands to macros. And then when I select macros, here is the macro, I add it to the right side. I can modify its icon, and let's select this smiling face. Let's add a space between extract and names. Here I'm allowed to do that. This is an alias, just a user-friendly name. When I hit OK and another OK, here is my macro. I could run it from here. And I know that when I run it this time, it will display a message box telling me that you already have a list of sheet names. Let me run it. You already have a list of sheet names. And look at this new worksheet that has been added. When I hit OK, it will be deleted and my code is working just fine. Let's right-click and delete the index. So I'm going to right-click and delete the index. Now I want to run my code one more time. When I click on this little icon, it runs the code. To build a forward navigation, you can use a hyperlink function to create link that goes to a cell somewhere within the current workbook. The hyperlink function requires two arguments, a link location, which means a destination, and optionally a friendly name. The link location must follow the pattern book name, sheet name in single quotations, an exclamation mark, then a cell reference. The trick is to add the pound sign at the start instead of the book name while building this structure inside the hyperlink function using the AND joining operator, Shift 7 on the keyboard. To create a backward navigation that jumps from any sheet back to cell A1 in the index of sheets, I use another hyperlink function. Now, let's do it in Excel. Now I want to create a forward and backward navigation by creating hyperlinks to and from the different worksheets. So I start by typing a label in cell B1. I typed in cell B1 go to sheet, and I would like to have the same formatting. So I drag from the lower right corner and I say fill formatting only. So I get the same exact formatting. In column B, starting from B2, I would like to create a hyperlink function. So I type equal hyperlink, and then I hit tab. In double quotation, I type a number sign as a reference to a workbook, a single quotation and double quotes. I want to join it to cell A2, which is the destination, the name of the worksheet where I want to go, because I'm in the link location argument for the hyperlink, if you can see it in the screen tip. And now I want to join A2. To complete the structure for this reference, I need double quote, single quotation, an exclamation mark, and cell A1, and then close the double quotation. That will be the link location. And now I type a comma and I want to provide a friendly name, as you can see in the screen tip, and the friendly name will be the name of the worksheet. When I close bracket and hit enter, here is my hyperlink. I can double click and send it down. We created this forward navigation. We need to create a backward navigation. So I'll be grouping the worksheets, excluding the index sheet. So I click on introduction and then I'm moving to the last sheet to the right side. I press shift and click on did you watch, and then in cell A1 I want to create a hyperlink to take me back to the index worksheet. It will be a hyperlink function equal hyperlink, and then I hit tab and then double quote, number sign, single quotation, double quote, and I want to join it. So I hit shift 7 on my keyboard in double quotation to the index worksheet, single quotation, exclamation mark, cell A1, double quote. I can also provide a friendly name. So I type a comma and in double quotation I type index and then double quote and close the bracket. When I hit enter, I should have created a forward and backward navigation. Let's test. So I'm going to click on index. It takes me to my index. Click on autofill. click on Index. Let's go to Did You Watch? In this worksheet, I added some thumbnails and links to some of the interesting video tutorials I have on my YouTube channel. And then if I want to go back, I click on Index, and I was able to create my index or table of contents with forward and backward navigation by using a VBA code. If you enjoyed this training video, give it a thumb up and watch the two other methods for creating an index of worksheet names by using functions or by using Power Query. Links are available below this video. And let me know in a comment which method you prefer. Don't forget to hit the big subscribe button here below to be notified when new videos are released. Thank you for watching and see you next time.